Commander Lee Hyun stared out at the vast emptiness of space through the thick windows of his ship. The cargo vessel Resilience was carrying medical supplies and food to the new human colony on Kepler 442b. It was supposed to be a routine trip, just like the dozens he had made before. "Sir, we have unknown contacts on sensors," called out Lieutenant Park Myo from a navigation console. His voice carried a note of worry that made everyone on the bridge turn to look. Lee Hyun moved to the main display screen. 3 massive ships appeared on the radar, their design unlike anything in human records. They were beautiful in a strange way, made of what looked like living crystal that pulsed with blue light. But their size was terrifying. Each one was at least 5 times larger than the biggest human warship. "Are they responding to our greeting signals?" Lee Hyun asked. "No, sir, but they're moving to surround us," Park Myo replied. "And, sir, there are more coming. A lot more." Within minutes, 20 alien vessels had positioned themselves around the small human convoy. The 3 cargo ships and their single escort frigate looked like toys next to the massive alien fleet. Captain Kim Sora, commanding the escort ship Soul's Pride, opened a communication channel. "Commander Lee, my weapons officer says their ships are charging some kind of energy weapons. What are your orders?" Before Lee Hyun could respond, a voice filled with static came through the ship speakers. The translation software struggled to make sense of the alien language, but the meaning was clear enough. "Primitive species of the 3rd planet, you will halt your expansion immediately. I am Overlord Vextar of the Galactic Hegemony. Your kind has been observed spreading to multiple star systems without permission. This ends now." Lee Hyun felt his stomach drop. First contact with an alien species, and it was starting with threats. He activated the communication system. "This is Commander Lee Hyun of the United Earthship Resilience. We come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic relations with your people." A sound that might have been laughter came through the speakers. "Diplomacy? Your species is barely capable of traveling between stars. You have nothing to offer the hegemony except your submission." Dr. Yoon Myri, the convoy's chief scientist, moved close to Lee Hyun and whispered, "Commander, I'm reading their ship specifications. Their technology is advanced, but not impossibly so. Some of Earth's classified military projects might actually match their capabilities." Lee Hyun nodded slightly but kept his face neutral. The aliens could know that Earth had been preparing for this possibility for decades. Every human colony ship was equipped with hidden sensors, gathering intelligence on any threats they might encounter. "What exactly do you want from us?" Lee Hyun asked the alien overlord. "Complete surrender of all human colonies and military assets. Your species will be relocated to designated areas under hegemony control. You will serve as a labor force for more advanced civilizations. This is how it has always been done." The bridge crew exchanged glances. Engineer Choi Dae-sung spoke up quietly. "Sir, they're talking about making us slaves." "I understand that," Lee Hyun replied. "Overlord Vextar, we need time to consult with our government. This is not a decision I can make alone. You have 1 rotation of your planet to respond. If you do not agree to our terms, we will begin destroying your colonies one by one until you submit." The communication ended abruptly. The alien ships maintained their positions around the human convoy, but made no aggressive moves. Captain Kim Sora's voice came through the intercom. "Commander, what's our play here? My crew is ready for a fight, but those ships could vaporize us in seconds." Lee Hyun was already moving toward the secure communication station. "We're sending everything we've gathered about these aliens back to Earth Command. Full quantum encryption, priority 1. As the message burst toward Earth at faster-than-light speed, Lee Hyun thought about what the aliens had said. They spoke like this was routine for them, like they had done this to countless other species. The casual way they discussed slavery and destruction suggested they had never met serious resistance before. Dr. Yoon Myri was studying the alien ship readouts on her console. "Commander, there's something interesting about their formation and tactics. They're overconfident. They're not even trying to hide their weaknesses from us." "What do you mean?" "Look at how they position themselves. It's beautiful and intimidating, but it's not tactically sound. They're assuming we can't hurt them, so they're not bothering with proper defensive positions. Lee Hyun smiled grimly. The Galactic Hegemony had made their first mistake. They thought humans were just another primitive species that would roll over and accept slavery. They had no idea that Earth had been united under a single government for 30 years, specifically to prepare for threats like this. They didn't know about the secret shipyards, the experimental weapons, or the military doctrine that every human officer had memorized. When cornered, humanity doesn't surrender, it evolves. The waiting game had begun, and the aliens had just given humanity exactly what it needed most. Time to show them what humans could really do when pushed too far. Admiral Choi Dae-sung was drinking his morning coffee in his office at Earth Defense Command when the emergency alarm started blaring. The red lights flashing across his walls meant only one thing: a colony was under attack. He rushed to the command center where dozens of officers were frantically working at their stations. Lieutenant Colonel Yoon Mairi met him at the main display screen, her face pale with shock. "Sir, we've lost contact with New Busan Colony." The last transmission showed hegemony ships in orbit, then everything went dark. Admiral Choi felt his blood turn cold. New Busan was one of humanity's most peaceful colonies, home to over 15,000 people. Most were farmers and their families, including hundreds of children. "Get me a satellite feed from the nearest monitoring station," he ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing an overhead view of what used to be New Busan Colony. Where green fields and small towns had existed just hours before, there was nothing but blackened earth and smoking craters. The alien ships had turned the entire settlement into ash. "How many survivors?" Admiral Choi asked quietly. Yoon Mairi checked her tablet, then looked up with tears in her eyes. "Preliminary scans show no life signs, sir. They killed everyone. Even the children's school was targeted directly." The command center fell completely silent. Every person in the room stared at the screen, trying to process what they were seeing. This wasn't a military target or a strategic location. It was a farming community that had never hurt anyone. Captain Ko Tae-yoon, who had family on New Busan, slammed his fist on his console. Those monsters didn't even give them a chance to evacuate. Admiral Choi activated the emergency communication system that connected him to every human ship, station, and colony in known space. His voice was steady, but everyone could hear the anger beneath it. "This is Admiral Choi to all human forces. At approximately 0800 hours, the Galactic Hegemony attacked and destroyed New Busan Colony. 15,000 innocent civilians are dead, including over 300 children. The aliens have crossed every line that civilized beings respect. Across human space, the reaction was immediate and unanimous. Captain Park Soo-young, commanding a trade ship near Alpha Centauri, watched her crew's faces change from shock to cold fury. Engineer Bae Salmon, who had been laughing with her teammates just moments before, now worked at her station with deadly focus. President Nam Jae-woo appeared on the main screen from the emergency session of the United Earth Council. Behind him, representatives from every nation and colony were standing in silence. "Admiral, the vote was unanimous. Every single representative agreed. We tried diplomacy. We offered to share space peacefully. They chose to murder our families instead." Dr. Lee Chan-woo, the head of Earth's most secret military project, stepped into the command center. For 20 years, his Aurora project had been developing weapons and ships that the public knew nothing about. Now those secrets would see daylight. "Admiral, we can have the first wave of modified ships ready within 72 hours. Our new weapon systems are designed specifically for enemies who think they're unbeatable." Admiral Choi nodded. "What about the hegemony fleet still waiting at Kepler for 42? They're demanding an answer to their surrender terms," Yoon Mairi reported. "Commander Lee Hyun is still stalling them." "Send this message to Overlord Vextar," Admiral Choi said. "Tell him that humanity's answer is on its way." Meanwhile, on colonies throughout human space, something unprecedented was happening. The different nations and corporations that had competed for decades were putting aside all their differences. Japanese engineers shared their secrets with Korean scientists. American military officers worked alongside European tacticians. African mining colonies offered their resources to Australian shipbuilders. Major Kim Woo-jin, a test pilot for experimental fighter craft, received orders to prepare his squadron for immediate deployment. The new ships used technology that bordered on impossible. Neural links that let pilots think at the speed of computers, and adaptive armor that learned from enemy attacks. "Sir, are we really going to war with an entire galactic empire?" asked his wingman, Lieutenant In Sung-hoon. Kim Woo-jin looked out at the stars where he knew alien ships were waiting. "They think we're just another primitive species they can push around. They're about to learn what happens when you threaten human children." In shipyards that had been disguised as civilian facilities, massive warships that looked nothing like traditional human designs began emerging from hidden construction bays. Dr. Park Ji-young's quantum communication systems allowed these ships to coordinate across vast distances instantly. The galactic hegemony had ruled through fear for thousands of years. They had crushed dozens of species who tried to resist them, but they had never encountered a species that viewed the murder of innocents as the ultimate crime. As Earth's hidden fleets prepared to launch, every human in space knew they were about to witness something that would change the galaxy forever. The aliens wanted to see what humans would do when cornered and desperate. They were about to find out that cornered humans don't surrender. They unite, and they fight with everything they have until the threat is completely destroyed. The line had been crossed, and there would be no going back. Overlord Zelthak commanded the Third Fleet of the Galactic Hegemony with complete confidence. For 3,000 years, no enemy had ever defeated a hegemony fleet in open battle. Today would be no different. His target was a human colony of New Sol, a mining operation with 50,000 inhabitants. The plan was simple: destroy the colony as an example, then move on to the next human settlement. Within a few months, the stubborn humans would beg for mercy. "Overlord, we're detecting human ships approaching," reported his tactical officer. 15 vessels, much smaller than ours. Zelthak looked at the display screen with amusement. The human ships looked primitive compared to his crystalline vessels. Their hulls were dark metal with strange curves and angles that made no sense to him. Begin the attack. Show them the power of the hegemony. The alien ships fired their plasma cannons, beams of superheated energy that could melt through any known armor. But something impossible happened. The energy beams struck the human ships and seemed to pass right through them, as if they were shooting at ghosts. Captain Hong Sungmin stood on the bridge of his ship, the Incheon, watching calmly as alien fire harmlessly passed around his vessel. The adaptive shielding system had analyzed the incoming weapons and created a perfect counter in microseconds. "Phase shift complete," reported a science officer. "We're out of sync with their energy frequency." "Excellent. Weapons, return fire." The Incheon's hull rippled like liquid water, reshaping itself into a configuration designed for maximum firepower. Ports open along its sides, revealing weapons that the aliens had never seen before. Beams of contained starfire lanced out from the human ships. Where they touched the hegemony vessels, the crystalline hulls simply evaporated. No explosion, no dramatic destruction. The alien ships just ceased to exist in perfect silence. "Impossible," Zelthak shouted as 3 of his ships vanished in seconds. "What kind of weapons are those?" Major Kim Woo-jin piloted his experimental fighter through the alien formation with movements that seemed to defy physics. His neural link to the ship's artificial intelligence allowed him to think and react faster than any organic mind could process. "Phoenix Squadron, engage pattern Delta 7, he commanded. The human fighters moved like a single living creature, each pilot connected to the others through quantum communication. They anticipate each other's moves perfectly, weaving through alien fire and patterns so complex that the enemy computers couldn't track them. Lieutenant In Sung-hoon's fighter suddenly appeared directly behind an alien cruiser, having teleported through a micro wormhole. His weapons charged for exactly 0.3 seconds before firing, just enough time to penetrate the enemy's shields at their weakest point. "How are they moving like that?" Zelthak's sensor operator was panicking now. "Sir, they're not following any known laws of physics." The truth was that Earth scientists had spent decades studying captured alien technology from crashed ships that the hegemony didn't even know were missing. Dr. Park Ji-young had cracked the secrets of quantum mechanics, while Dr. Shin Naeung had figured out how to weaponize gravity itself. Commander Song Yunho watched from his heavy cruiser Busan as the human fleet demonstrated capabilities that 20 years of secret research had made possible. His ship's hull was embedded with millions of microscopic machines that could repair damage instantly and adapt to any threat. "Sir, the aliens are trying to retreat," reported his tactical officer. "Let them go, but make sure they see this first." The Busan fired a single weapon, a gravity lance that compressed space-time itself into a cutting beam. The shot traveled through an enemy battleship from front to back, leaving a perfectly smooth tunnel where armor and machinery used to be. Dr. Lee Chanwoo monitored the battle from Earth's command center, watching as years of secret work finally proved its worth. The Aurora Project had created ships that thought, weapons that adapted, and tactics that evolved in real time. "Admiral, the hegemony fleet is in full retreat," he reported to Admiral Choi Dae-sung. "Our ships took 0 casualties." But the most shocking moment came when Captain Ryu Sungji's destroyer Gwangju faced 5 alien ships at once. Instead of fighting, his ship simply transmitted a digital virus into the enemy network. Within seconds, the alien ships turned their weapons on each other, their own computers now obeying human commands. As the surviving alien ships fled in terror, they carried with them the impossible truth. Humans didn't just have better technology. They had weaponized concepts that the hegemony couldn't even understand. Overlord Zelthak's damaged flagship limped away from the battle, its crew stunned into silence. In 5,000 years of hegemony expansion, no species had ever turned their own technology against them. No enemy had ever adapted so quickly to their tactics. "Send word to the High Command," Zelthak ordered weakly. "The humans, they're not what we thought. They don't fight like any species we've encountered. They fight like they've been preparing for us their entire existence." The message that reached hegemony space was simple but terrifying. Humanity had revealed that their peaceful appearance was just a mask hiding the most advanced military technology the galaxy had ever seen. And this was only the beginning of what Earth could do when truly threatened. The galaxy's strongest empire had just learned that they were no longer the apex predator in space. The ancient fortress world of Praxis had never fallen in 3,000 years. Its massive orbital defense stations could destroy entire fleets, and its underground bunkers went 50 kilometers deep into solid rock. Today, Fleet Admiral Lim Ji-hun's human armada surrounded the planet like a tightening noose. Status report. Admiral Lim requested from the bridge of his flagship Sejong. Captain Song Yunho responded from his position aboard the heavy cruiser Busan. "Sir, their orbital platforms are trying to target us, but they're firing blind. Dr. Shin Naeung's computer virus has infected their entire defense network." The hegemony defenders watched in horror as their own weapons turned against them. Defense satellites that had protected Praxis for centuries suddenly began destroying each other, their targeting systems now controlled by human artificial intelligence. How is this possible? General Kexmore demanded from his command bunker deep beneath the planet's surface. His 4 eyes watched the tactical display in disbelief as human ships moved through his defenses without taking a single hit. Colonel Jang Min-hyuk's marine assault teams were already landing on the planet's surface. But these weren't ordinary soldiers. Each marine was equipped with adaptive armor that learned from enemy weapons, and their drop pods carried something the aliens had never seen before: mobile factories. "Target analysis complete," announced Sergeant Park Mio as his pod touched down near an alien stronghold. Enemy species designation: Kythera. Weakness: sensitive to subsonic frequencies. Within minutes, the mobile factory had produced weapons specifically designed to defeat Kythera biology. Sound cannons that made the alien defenders collapse in agony while being completely harmless to humans. Lieutenant Commander Ryu Sungji monitored the planet-wide battle from his ship's war room. "Sir, resistance is collapsing in sectors 7 through 12. The local population is surrendering rather than fighting." This was the pattern repeating across the galaxy. Wherever human forces appeared, they didn't just win battles. They made victory inevitable through preparation and adaptation that seemed almost supernatural. Captain Moon Seekjin commanded a squadron of ships attacking the hegemony's stronghold of Zeta Prime. His vessels moved in perfect coordination, each ship knowing exactly what the others would do without any communication delays. "How are they doing that?" whispered Commander Vaxnell as he watched human ships execute maneuvers that required impossible timing. "They're acting like a single mind controlling multiple bodies." The answer was Dr. Park Ji-young's quantum entanglement communication system. Every human ship, soldier, and commander was connected through instantaneous links that made their entire military function as one vast organism. Major Kim Woo-jin's fighter squadron demonstrated this perfectly as they engaged enemy forces above the industrial world of Kepler-7. Each pilot knew exactly where their wingmates were and what they were thinking, allowing them to execute attacks so coordinated that alien computers couldn't track the patterns. "They're everywhere at once," reported a panicked Hegemony flight controller. "Our fighters can't engage them because they move like they can see the future." But the most terrifying moment came when the humans encountered the Hegemony's elite destroyer fleet near the border worlds. These were the Hegemony's finest ships, commanded by their most experienced officers, equipped with their most advanced weapons. Admiral Ko Tae-young's task force met them in the Vega system. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. "Sir, enemy fleet has been completely destroyed," reported Captain In Sung-hoon from his battleship Incheon. "Zero human casualties." The few Hegemony survivors who escaped brought back reports that the alien high command refused to believe. Human ships that could become invisible, weapons that ignored all known forms of defense, and tactics that adapted faster than their enemies could respond. Engineer Bae Salmon worked frantically in her laboratory aboard the research vessel Harmony, developing new weapon systems in real time based on each enemy they encountered. The Zephyrians use energy shields, so we'll create gravity weapons. The Kithra have thick armor, so we'll use phase disruptors. Within hours of identifying a new enemy, human forces had weapons specifically designed to defeat them. It was as if humanity had spent their entire existence preparing to fight every possible opponent. News of human victories spread faster than the battles themselves. Species that had served the hegemony for millennia began switching sides or fleeing to neutral space. The great empire that had ruled the galaxy for 5,000 years was crumbling in a matter of weeks. "They don't fight like any species we've encountered," reported Overlord Zarthak to the Hegemony High Council. "They fight like war itself has become their science. Every tactic, every weapon, every strategy is designed with terrifying efficiency." Dr. Yoon Myri monitored the psychological impact from Earth's Intelligence Center. "Admiral, our propaganda broadcasts are working. Half the galaxy now believes that humans are some kind of ancient warrior race that was hiding our true nature. The truth was simpler and more frightening. Humans weren't naturally better warriors than other species. They were just the only species that had turned warfare into an art form, studying every aspect of conflict with the same dedication that others use to study music or literature." As human fleets advanced on the hegemony capital, the galaxy's older civilizations whispered ancient warnings about species that viewed destruction not as a necessity, but as a craft to be perfected. The hegemony had awakened something that would reshape the balance of power forever. The ancient capital world of Zephyria had been the center of galactic power for 5,000 years. Its golden spires and crystal palaces had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations, all bowing before hegemony might. Today, Supreme Admiral Park Soo-young walked through those same halls as the conqueror. The final battle had lasted only 6 hours. Human fleets had surrounded the planet while avoiding all civilian areas, their precision strikes targeting only military installations. When the hegemony leadership realized that resistance was hopeless, they had surrendered unconditionally. "Your terms are surprisingly merciful," admitted former Overlord Supreme Vaxteen as he signed the surrender documents. His multiple eyes showed confusion rather than hatred. "We expected you to enslave us as we enslaved others." President Kong Jae-hai, Earth's representative, sat across from the alien leaders in the Great Council chamber. "We didn't fight for conquest. We fought because you forced us to. The galaxy needs order, but it should be based on cooperation, not fear." Dr. Ojewan, now serving as Earth's Minister of Galactic Affairs, explained a new framework that would govern the galaxy. Every species maintains complete control over their own worlds. Trade agreements are voluntary. Cultural exchange is encouraged, but any aggression against civilian populations will bring immediate human intervention. The terms were revolutionary. For the first time in galactic history, a dominant military power was choosing to lead through protection rather than domination. Species that had been slaves for generations suddenly found themselves free to make their own choices. Captain Moon Seekjin received his new assignment as he stood in the bridge of his ship Harmony. "You'll be patrolling the outer rim sectors," Admiral Lim Jahun explained over the communication link. "Protect developing species, investigate distress calls, and remind anyone thinking about conquest that Earth is watching." The transition wasn't without challenges. Some former hegemony officials tried to maintain their old power through hidden networks and secret armies. Major Kim Woo-jin's Special Forces units tracked down these rebels with the same efficiency they had shown in the war. "Target located," he reported as his team surrounded a hidden base on the moon of Kepler 9. Former General Kexmore is attempting to restart slave operations. The raid took 12 minutes. No shots were fired. The rebels surrendered the moment they realized they were facing human forces. Lieutenant Colonel Yoon Myri worked with alien scientists to establish the new Galactic Research Council. Species that had been forbidden from developing advanced technology were suddenly free to share their knowledge with others. "The Zephyrians have amazing medical knowledge," she reported to her command. "And the Kithra understand quantum mechanics in ways we never considered. Working together, we could solve problems that have plagued the galaxy for centuries." But the most significant change was happening in the hearts and minds of the galaxy's inhabitants. Captain Hong Sungman encountered this during a routine patrol near the Arcturus system. "Human ship, this is Colony Ship Hope's Dawn," came a transmission from a vessel carrying refugees. "We're former slaves seeking a world where we can live freely. Can you help us?" "Of course," Captain Hong replied. "We'll escort you to the Kepler 438 system. It has 3 habitable planets that are currently unoccupied." As word spread that humans would protect anyone seeking freedom, millions of beings began moving throughout the galaxy for the first time in their lives. Former slave colonies became independent worlds. Species that had been separated by hegemony policies began reconnecting with their scattered families. Admiral Choi Dae-sung, now serving as Earth's first galactic defense coordinator, watched the transformation from his headquarters on Luna. Reports came in daily of successful peacekeeping missions, rescued colonies, and prevented conflicts. "Sir, we received a request from the vegan system," reported his aide, Commander Jang Min-yuk. "2 species are having a territorial dispute, and they want human mediators to help find a solution." This was exactly what Earth had hoped to achieve. Instead of solving problems through force, the galaxy was learning to use diplomacy and compromise. Human ships were becoming symbols of protection rather than conquest. Engineer Bay Salmon worked on converting weapons factories into civilian production facilities. "We can use the same technology that made our weapons adapt to create tools that solve whatever problems a colony might face," she explained to the Reconstruction Committee. The galaxy's younger species looked to their new protectors with admiration and gratitude. Children who had grown up as slaves were now attending schools where they could learn about their own cultures and histories. Dr. Park Ji-young established communication networks that allowed every species to speak with others instantly across vast distances. "Information should be free," she declared. "No one should ever again be isolated or cut off from the rest of the galaxy." As President Kang Jai toured the former slave worlds, she saw something that filled her with pride. Former enemies were working together, sharing resources, and building a future based on mutual respect rather than domination. The galaxy had learned a simple truth. Humans possess the power to destroy any opponent, but they chose to use that power only to protect the innocent. This combination of overwhelming strength and moral restraint created a peace more stable than any the galaxy had ever known. The hegemony had ruled through fear. Humanity would lead through hope, knowing that sometimes the greatest victory is choosing when to stop fighting.